Welcome to the Pissed Off Patriot podcast, featuring your host, Ian McFarland.
All right, guys, it's Sunday night just after 8 o'clock. I promised you every week I was going to make this happen, and we're here live tonight again. I really appreciate all the people who've reached out to me all week long, excited, and said, hey, make it a little shorter. It's really too long. But hey, that was Mark McCloskey, man. We had to get some information from the guy. He's running for U.S. Senate. I was really excited to have him on last week. This week I've got a special guest too, but we won't disclose that till a little bit later in the show, like maybe a half an hour. So what happened this week? Well, folks, I mean, we got a ton of guns. The whole shop is just filled up, man. There's so much stuff out there. It's really amazing. Really fortunate and blessed, you know. I went to church today and I listened to this really great speaker, and she was just wonderful. It just made a lot of sense to me. And a lot of things that she said, you know, like when you sit back and you look at your life and you wonder why you haven't got anywhere, or maybe that you're looking to move forward and do something for yourself, you know. The things that she said today really hit home to me, because it was like I was put in that situation, and that's how I started this business. You know, I was put in that situation because that's what, you know, God wanted me to do. He wanted me to change my life and do something bigger. And so I've tried to pass that on to people, and I have tried to do that in everything I have done. And so far, I've been extremely successful. Thank you to all the great people in my life and all the great things that happen. You know, this is just really amazing that I can have this type of... You can't see me then. Ah, there we go. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's working right now. Yeah, it is working. Okay, so my friend was telling me he can't see me, but it is actually working. I can see it now. So anyway, you know, these things in life happen to you, really test you. And when you look at life in general, you know, sometimes people go through these real dramatic, hard times, and it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the thing for you, because you're still here. So if it was, you wouldn't be here. And there's a plan for you. And every day that you live, there's a plan. And now whether or not you grasp that plan and you take it and you make it yours, that's the difference between those who survive and those who just get by. And the big thing in life you got to remember is there's always an opportunity out for you that you can do that you may not even think about today or grasp. I mean, gosh, I look back almost 12 years later. I don't even think I ever thought about opening a gun store until it was like I didn't have a chance to do anything else. It was either survive or die. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just in a place where I was done. I was stuck. I mean, everybody had taken out all the ways of putting me down. And, you know, it was one of those real deep moments, you know, in your life when you just sit back and you realize it and you go, man, this is a test. This isn't about me and what I want to be. This is a test about whether or not my faith is strong and I still believe in myself and I believe in God. So when you wake up in the morning and you have a hard day, just remember there's always something more you can do, and whether or not you want to do it depends on you and your faith and energy. And so I'm just going to get on to the show today. So this is a really interesting week. A lot of stuff has happened. I mean, we talked about last week that the California federal court ruling against the 32-year assault rifle ban in California and shutting that down big time. Well, Biden's administration moved right in, and what did they do? They took over the bump stock idea and they moved it into the brace thing again. So we now have the brace thing back into play. They're going to try to make it to where, I think they said the other day it was something like 30 million weapons approximately they're estimating have these devices. This is a huge deal. This affects everybody. And it's a big deal. So if you're not aware of what is going on, you've got to look at the big picture. What they're trying to do is create a registry for your firearms. They're trying to take away your guns, know what you have, and make it to where you have to, by no choice of your own, give them the information on your firearms. So it's either you destroy your stuff, or you become a criminal, or you pay this fee of extortion money to exercise your right that's been in play now for 10 plus years. This has been okay. And if you don't, you're going to go to jail. Okay? Or you're going to lose everything that you own, have, and so forth, because you'll be prosecuted to the point where you can't afford to survive anymore because the government has unlimited money, right? Because we pay taxes. Unfortunately, fortunately, there are groups like FPC and Gun Owners of America who are out there really, really fighting for us, okay, guys? And they are ready to pounce on this. It is such a big deal to them, and I think they've been actually expecting this case for a while, and they know exactly how they're going to attack it. And I really honestly believe that this is going to be a landmark case for NFA to fall. And why I say that is because I think the judges can no longer ignore the fact that the government has proceeded to allow people to have these weapons. No big issue about it. Haven't caused any mass casualties like they claim. I mean, shit, the 30 million of them out there, guys. If there was a problem with these firearms, everybody in the streets would be dead, okay? There wouldn't be a second day of their lives. It's that pathetic of an argument that these are some sort of special scary weapon that needs to be regulated. So I just don't see that coming to or being anything like that, okay? And I think what they've done is really smart on the behalf of the manufacturers. They put out these guns with these short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun kind of configurations that were considered braced models and or others, okay, in the shotguns. Those guns are not classified according to what Congress put in law years ago, okay, 1934. So if that's the case, we now have, let's just say, short-barreled rifles, are a separate class, okay? So then braced pistols. They're saying we have probably close to 30 million braced pistols in this country. That's more guns than probably a lot of handguns that are out there. It's probably a lot of guns more than a lot of certain styles of what they consider assault rifles, which would be just standard semi-automatic rifles. This is a big deal, and it falls into a situation where common use comes into play. And this is one of the things that the courts have always used. Well, it's not a common use weapon. Well, it's kind of really hard to argue common use when there's millions and millions and millions of these out there now. And we're talking the same deal with these shorter shotguns. So you've essentially limited, you've provided a court a diagram of the two pieces, right? If you put a picture of a short-barreled rifle next to a short-barreled pistol with a brace, you now show the court there is no difference whatsoever, and this whole law under NFA is really exasperating the truth of what they're trying to do. And it's providing this sense of non-security to the people because now we don't know what's what. And we'll get into talking about that ranking system, but I promised I'd bring I promised I'd bring Secret Agent Man on tonight. And so I'm going to call him real quick. Let me get this thing switched over so I got this on my right thing. Okay, we're connected. So let me call him up and get him on the phone here for you guys. And we're going to go ahead and discuss this a little bit. And we're going to bring him in the call. So I think...
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So we got you in there today. I gotta play your little tune, so hang on one second. And that's him. You know, he's here tonight, guys. Secret Agent Man. All night long, he is here for at least another 15 minutes or 10 minutes or so, and we'll have on our second guest. So anyway, we were talking about this crazy brace situation, and I think you put up a a thing the other day. Can you talk just so I can see how clear you are real quick here?
Sure.
Okay. Does that
How's
sound
this? We
so?
okay?
Yeah, it sounds good. I think we're in good shape.
Okay.
So the best part about this whole thing is that they said that they were going to arbitrarily ban all these guns underneath this new list of features and things that rank it based on features, and they give it ranks by each of those features. So if you add up so many numbers under each section, okay, it is basically considered a short-barreled rifle, and therefore you need to register it, even though it has never been a short-barreled rifle prior to that day. And so we were talking the other day, and I just basically said, look, my gun just identifies as all zeros, so it doesn't even matter, right? I thought that was kind of a funny comment in a sense, but at the same time, let's just be serious. How many of these people out there are going to be completely confused by this just 10-year standing rule or rule on a letter saying that these are legal, and all these companies running out and making them, and then all of a sudden you're just going to leave everybody, high and dry, just, oh, well, we're going to change everything.
Looks like the bump stock ban. They're gonna, that was just a reach up and grab it, pass it illegally, and put a bunch of companies out of business and make a bunch of people felons.
Yeah, and it's really sad. I mean, because I think in the long term, people are going to get caught with their pants down. They're not going to even know. Because, I mean, a lot of people don't even watch the news. They don't look at this stuff. They don't have any clue what might be coming. And they're at the range with this guy, with this gun. And all of a sudden, here comes, the range master and the chief of police saying, hey, you got a short-barreled rifle here and you didn't register it, and suddenly it's put your hands behind your back, take your gun, and you go to jail.
Yeah, have you been through that form to do the test on any of the firearms that either you have or you have knowledge of? I mean, if you've been through it's the typical ATS stuff. It has enough wiggle room in it where it's subject to interpretation. And, I mean, a friend of mine went through it and his firearm was legal, absolutely legal. Mm-hmm. He had iron sights on it. The distances were correct. The brace was correct. And he even called the ATF for clarification, after he had a list to get it clarified. But he got the opinion of one person on the other end of the phone. And there's that much vague verbiage in that list.
Well, they won't buy secret agent, man. They're not going to give you an answer on paper. They're not going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. It's up to you to be within the clarified guidance, I guess you would call it. And if you aren't, then, well, that's just a darn shame. Your good joke, one of your jokes you tell at the shop all the time is, what's the difference between a brace and a stock when it comes to one of these shorter guns? And your answer is always
10 years, $250K top.
So that's a good one. I like that. But I mean, this stuff with the receivers, like the week before, is the same nonsense. It's like literally stating that you can have close to like 15 guns or 12 guns or something within one single firearm, because those components they're claiming are now going to need to be serialized, which is absolutely absurd. And what a confusing cluster beep of mess, I should say. I don't want to cuss on there, but it's just to confuse people and make people panic, so they do either they stop doing anything with those kind of guns, or they stop buying them, or they stop making them. But it's getting to the point where it's clear what their objective is, and it is to essentially take away the rights of the people to keep and bear, I should say, arms. The right to keep, I mean, I even thought about that today. I'm like, I'm in Illinois. I've got my gun in the glove box locked just to make sure, because I don't have a CCW over there, but I do have a CCW, so I'm covered if I'm in my car. And if I lock, Yeah, if I lock it in the glove box when I get out, then I'm also covered. But if I have it on me in the car, I'm okay. So I lock it in the car, and I thought to myself, like, okay, I get pulled over by a state patrol or something in Illinois. I can say, hey, haven't you ever heard of the right to keep arms? It's protected by the Second Amendment. I'm keeping it safe in my car, you know. But apparently that doesn't matter anymore, sadly, to some of the communist states. And it seems like they're just loose in the wind, do whatever they want. And it's really cool to see Newsom and the guys in California flipping out. I mean, to the point where they're having news conferences with all their buddies in the Gun Butt Suck Club that wants to shut down the Second Amendment, and out there having a little hoedown TV show to tell everybody how dangerous things are, and people are going to start killing people on the streets because these guns are no longer regulated, and blah blah blah. And it's just what a horse shit of nonsense, you know.
One of the best discussions I've had recently was, they made the statement. I think it was Lightfoot, and again, I avoid Illinois at all costs, and I especially avoid Cook County if I have to go to Illinois.
Yeah, that's definitely not a place to go.
But Lightfoot made a statement. The problem is why national gun registration control and restriction will work is because it's not a Chicago problem. It's all these people from Chicago going to other states, the surrounding states, and purchasing firearms legally, which you and I both know that that's BS, because you've got to have it shipped to a dealer in Chicago or in Illinois if it's a firearm. But but if you get to the root of the logic is, there's this blanket problem. Well, if they're going to Missouri, they're going to Indiana and all the bordering states to buy them where they're legal, doesn't the logic follow that since there's so many firearms in those surrounding states, that the shooting rate and the death rate should be, and just the crime rate should be exponentially greater than it is in Illinois?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing.
And the argument falls apart at that point.
There's no crime at all. Yeah, I mean, this is a nonsense. The only crime that's committed is the only crimes that's committed is in the city of Chicago on the streets with thugs who don't care to follow laws anyway. So why take the right away from the people just to end up making it harder for people to protect themselves? It's absolutely
or in any city. I mean, there's going to be pockets of crime. It is a social issue. It is not a gun issue. It's like that meme I saw the other day where it was a child in the classroom, and I think you saw it too, where the child said, my teacher said, that guns kill people. And then the next segment was, my pencil failed this math test.
Is exactly the point. I mean, it's the most asinine thing to excuse people or accuse people of being criminals just because they own guns versus the realistic nature that, the guns aren't the problem. It's the people. And we've been saying that a long time in the country. And I think there's a lot of that wake up. I think a lot of these judges are waking up to the fact that if we continue to ban stuff as they are, we're going to end up getting invaded by one of the other superpowers, and we're going to be taken on our own soil because we have no way to defend. And I think it's
it goes back to World War II. I mean, that's why there was a statement by Hirohito that said, we won't do a land invasion on the U.S. There's too many guns.
Yeah, they knew they'd never be able to survive. It would never happen. So
no.
I mean, I still believe that's the case today. It's one of the reasons that Russia's never really been invaded either. Every person there pretty much has guns that's of need, and they're all over the place. I mean, shit, I think an AK is like $100 or something or less there. So, to get a real Russian, Kalashnikov AK is like buying a toy for your kid at the grocery store. I mean, it's, and they're
absolutely
autos. So.
But, if you look at what they're kind of proposing now, where they want to, the 4473, which, you tuned me into this, they've got the firearm information on the first page on what you're purchasing. I mean, they revised that whole form and put some other gender issues in there. but if they try and take these braces over to the NFA,
Mm-hmm.
oh, good God, it takes anywhere between 3 to a year, 3 months to
We're
a
never
year.
going to get another suppressor during our lifetime approved.
Well, exactly, because if they take these over and, they've got like 3 or 4 people, whoever, I don't know. I don't have any details on that. But, it's going to crush the approval process. You'll die before you get anything approved.
Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes to talk. Let's talk about Dave Chipman and this clown that they're trying to get approved for the ATF. Well, give us a little background on this guy.
Oh, anybody that isn't familiar with the Gary Busey body double, there's a lot of YouTube feeds from his grilling on Capitol Hill, and the guy's clearly unhinged. He was the Waco mastermind down there that lied through that. I think his team fired the first shot. Claimed 2 helicopters got shut down with 50s, which was complete BS. He has an issue, and there's a lot of back and forth that he potentially lied to his hearing that he had a service weapon stolen from his trunk, which I know from personal experience, you are forbidden to keep any kind of a service weapon in your personal car in the trunk. It has to be on you at all times, or in your possession at all times. And he had a weapon stolen, a pistol, and which should immediately disqualify him from anything and everything. He should have been fired on the spot.
Yeah, that, and not only the other thing is he was the head of Gabby Gifford's firm. What the heck's the name of that group?
Oh yeah, well he actually 3. He was involved in 3 gun grabber firms.
Yeah,
and the guy's clearly, and he stated it in the hearings that, and he couldn't define what an assault weapon is.
Well, he actually did. He did do that to Congress prior when they asked him under oath for them testifying under the Giffords firm. So he had no problem defining it then, but today he does.
He said, he loosely defined it as anything greater than a 22, or 22 or greater, actually.
That has a detachable magazine. So basically every single 22 caliber up firearm in the country. So
yeah, I mean, it covers everything.
Well, this guy needs to be shut down. So if you got a few minutes to send your local senators, Holly's one of them, and then there's the other ones. But if you have time to send them your feedback on this guy and telling them to not, consider him at all, please send that message. Spend a few minutes to make that phone call. They figure if you make a phone call, you have 10 people upset, right? So that's their calculation. So if they get a few phone calls, they think they got a lot of people upset. And they're going to start thinking about what they're going to vote. Now, most of these guys who are probably on our side are not going to vote for this guy. But we just need one to turn. And so if it's very important that we get as many people involved as we can to do that. Now, one of the big things that we need to get busy on, and you can do, your wife can do, your cousin can do, your brother can do, everybody can do this, is on our Facebook page, modernweaponsystems.com, or I'm sorry, Modern Weapon Systems on Facebook, excuse me. You can go directly to the comment link on the form for the brace. And I need you to go on there and make a comment. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be a comment. Keep it clean. Don't cuss, even though I know you want to. Bite your tongue. Type a nice little comment about how there's some unconstitutional pigs and you don't want them to take your weapons and you think they have no rights to do so, whatever you want to do. And don't kill your dog. Make sure you mention that so they don't come to your house and kill your dog. And make sure you leave a comment, put your name, your email address. They're not going to bother you. They're not going to track you down, but we have to get the word out. We need to get hundreds of thousands of comments on this thing so that it makes the news and makes an argument about how many people are actually affected that know about it versus how many people are actually affected that will never know about it. So if there's 30 million of these things, we should be able to easily hit 100,000, I would think, with ease within the period, if not more. And we need to hit as many as we can. So that page is on our Facebook feed. It's a comment on the registrar. It says it in there. Please make sure you do that. And then please share that link out to all your friends. Post it to all the gun pages you know of. Make sure everybody knows to get it done because it has to be done. It has to be done quickly. Well, Secret Agent Man, I appreciate you joining me tonight. I got to get on to my next guest.
One quick point in passing.
Sure.
Keep your comments very professional.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, and here's the caveat: if they're not, or it's perceived as unprofessional, they throw them out. But they have to publicly present every one of those comments.
Yeah.
So for debate, so you've got to put comments, and if nothing else, just slow the bloody works down.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, like with Chipman, I believe, unless you've heard something different, Ian, I know they delayed it from, I think it was last Friday. They were going to go in for hearing, but this new stuff bubbled up. So I believe it's this Thursday when he's going in for the approval.
Possibly,
so
yeah. So one of my customers posted to pin that to the top of the page. So it is now the top post on the page. Please spend the time to do it. Send it to your friends, your family, email it, text it, whatever you got to do. Let's get as many people as we can signing that and making sure that it gets out there. So
absolutely.
And then other than that, I think we're good. I got to burn. I got to get my next special guest on. This is an important guest. I can't let this go.
Yes, it is.
You know, I mean, this is very shocking actually to get this person on tonight. But here we go. So I'm gonna get off phone with you, and I'm gonna give them a call. All right, guys. So, this person's I'm very excited to have this person on tonight. It's like very, very weird that we will get an opportunity to have this person come on tonight. So, here we go. Let me see if I can get them. I gotta send a message to their handlers. Give me 1 second here. Oh, and by the way, look, these are great hats. I love this hat. I'm not into these flat bills very much, but I got this from Peter Pie at, and it sounds like funny, right? Peter Pie. You think like, okay, Peter Pan? No, it's Peter Pie. Defiant Munitions. This is a really cool hat. I wear it all the time. It's like one of the most comfortable hats, most comfortable hat that I usually get. I mean, I got this from him and I wear it all the time. A couple of shirts are really cool too. So if you have, a few bucks, pick yourself up a Defiant Munitions hat and check out their ammo. They're coming out with a Subsonic 308. We'll have it in the store in probably about maybe 2 weeks. And at 600 feet per second, it still expands. It gets 18 inches of penetration with full expansion. So that's crazy on a 300. A 308. And they have a what the heck is it? It's a is it 300 Win Mag? Yeah, they have 300 Win Mag. Doing 6.5 soon. 458 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM I hear is coming. So there's going to be a ton of cool stuff coming out. So check it out, Defiant Munitions. We carry it in the store. It's one of the best defensive rounds that I've ever seen. And it's really cool. We got some pictures. We got some pictures of a hog hunt. We have pictures of a customer who gave it to us for his daughter taking out a deer. So if you really want to see what this stuff does, come on by. Hogs are very close to us now in St. Louis. A friend of mine lives about an hour and a half south, and they are there. So we are probably going to start seeing some around Jefferson County sooner or later. It's unfortunately the way it's been. They've been moving north. So do expect that you might see wild hogs or boars real soon. So okay, so it looks like my guy's ready. So I'm going to make a phone call, and we'll see if we can get him on tonight. So give me 1 second here. All right, let's see here. See if that rings in right. I think it's going to ring in right. Hello?
Is this Ian?
It is.
Hello, is this Ian?
It is Ian.
Modern Weapon Systems is very nice call. I appreciate you calling. I hope you can hear Florida's lines a little messed up.
And this is for real, right? I mean, this is a big deal.
You've got great Americans, the Second Amendment that you're supporting, absolutely fabulous. We're going to take back this country in August. I'm going to come back. I just want to thank you for your supporters.
So tonight, Trump has joined us live on air, and I want to talk to you about this cheating thing. What do you think about this?
Well, I've got a lot of things that I can't say, and I've got other things that I can't say. But one thing I really think people need to realize that the unions that the XL pipeline, they were all told to support Biden. Now they're all out of a job. And the same thing that's going on when I just got off the phone with Governor Abbott about doing a great job with the wall. They're going to do it themselves. All the things that we tried to do, they're trying to do. And we're going to get it back. We're going to get it right.
So you're coming back to office, I hear, like August. Is that accurate? I mean, where did that number come from?
I can't say anything other than we're doing our best. If the court support us, and I know the Supreme Court is going to give us all the support that we need. The fake news, don't believe what the fake news is. It's outlets like you, Ian, that are giving great, truthful news. People have got to be able to find out the truth. That's the whole thing. This social, I think if we just poured a bucket of water on Nancy Pelosi, it worked in The Wizard of Oz, it would work again. I think that would be the end. I think we'd be fine, don't you?
It's a good possibility. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful this audit comes out in your favor, because if it does, we're gonna have a big bunch of problems that we got to deal with, and really soon. I think.
People in Arizona, we're going to get it done. The preponderance of evidence is great, and people can make fun of everything about my pillow and my friend, the chief executive there. Everybody knows who he is, a great American, somebody that's spending time and money doing their own research. Like all great Americans, they're going to find the truth. It's like Lincoln said, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. All the great leaders of a great wall. Look what Israel's done with the Great Wall. They've lowered all problems, and look at all the problems they're having there now. And they've gotten rid of Netanyahu now. He's a great man, a great leader. You can't be a Chamberlain in situations like this. It calls statesmanship. You need a Churchill to get out in front of these people. I mean, North Korea, China, with Xi, Putin. I mean, if you show weakness, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's a definite shit show, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy. This is crazy. I'm gonna play your exit music back out, and you have a good night, sir. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and giving us your opinion of things, and just I wish you luck. I hope this thing works out.
Yeah. God bless our Second Amendment supporters, and you people are on the front line. Biden trips up the steps, Air Force One. Nobody went to help him. He's the fall guy. All this socialist stuff, he's the fall guy. He's not behind this. Everybody knows that. So keep telling the truth. Good luck to all of you. And we support our military, our police. Don't defund the police. Don't fall for that one. Nobody's going to do that. You just keep doing what you're doing. You're all great Americans. Thank you.
All right. Take care, sir. Thank you so much. Commander in Chief.
Thank you, Ian.
All right. So that was an interesting call. I couldn't believe he called me tonight. I sent a message over, and I was just like, gosh, is this guy going to call for real? And he did. So that's pretty amazing. My next guest, I mean, just crazy. My next guest, Mark Brekenridge, he is of Heroes Care, Fenton, Missouri. He is the new president, and he has been put in the place of the guy who used to run it. I've just met him like 2 days ago. Seems like a really, really swell guy. He took over this agency. We do a lot of donations for them at the store. There's a box right next to us at the front counter. And as you check out, you can put in, coins. But the big thing is they help the local veterans who are in need, or their families. So when they come back, if they can't afford food and things like that, these guys come out and they supply them. They work with a lot of the groups around town to collect funds, and all of their funds go directly to taking care of the people. There isn't a big bunch of cash cows at the top that get paid. This is a straight deal. And I'll let him explain a little bit more details, but it's a really great organization located right down the street from where we're located in Fenton and Biltmore Plaza. So if you want to offer some donations to that group, or even some of your time, I'm sure they'll be interested. But let's get him on the phone, and he can give you more details about that. And I think it'll be a good thing to talk to this organization. And if we do anything later this year, we're going to bring them in to be a party to that, and maybe we'll give them a big gift of money at the time. So my guest is Mark. Or Mark,
Ian.
are you there?
I'm there. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, buddy, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for the call, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I so you came in last week to the shop and introduced yourself, and I haven't talked to the guy who ran the organization before you for, I would say it's probably been a year, maybe a year and a half. And
John Jerome.
yeah, a lot's changed, and so can you give me some update on your new position, what you're doing now, what the organization's about, and then we'll go into more details.
Sure. I really appreciate you giving us a little PR because unlike a lot of charities, we don't have a budget for advertising. So
Sure.
we're dependent on organizations like you and doing our volunteer stuff. A lot of people are worried about if I give these people money, where is it going? Because there's obviously a lot of fraud with that stuff. Our organization, we've got Charity Navigator. They give us a 4-star rating. We got Best in America, Independent Charities America, the Better Business Bureau, and the Guide Star gave us a good rating. And we just did our 2021 numbers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is on a low budget, we support veterans before, during, and after deployment and their families. I'm a former reservist in the National Guard. I was lieutenant, a captain, and an NCO. I did PSYOP. I was a tank commander, and I did MP for a little bit. And I had a dual career in civilian law enforcement. And we have thousands of veterans across the world that get care packages from us. That's one of the first things that John Jerome did when he started this before Desert Storm. And it grew into doing a lot of different things, like emergency financial assistance if a veteran, someone that's deployed, like we had a call the other day that a woman had some animals in the attic and she was freaked out and worried about her kid's safety. We paid the bill to get the animals out of the attic. That's just a minor thing, but we have on average 2 people that we will help them. We'll pay their rent for the month or pay their car payment so they don't get their car repossessed. We do material support for veterans and their families for clothing, food, household items, furniture, appliances. And we verify that these people are in fact military people. We don't just write, blank checks. We do the care packages, the Santa Express, food pantries. When I was in active reserve status, I was with a PSYOP unit down there, and $200-300 worth of food, diapers, or whatever were given away to Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, but mostly Air Force and Army. So if they need help, they go down there, and we help to fund that.
Now, I want to first start with saying thank you for your service, sir. I appreciate the long list of stuff that you did there. That's real American there for you guys. I couldn't get into the military even though I wanted to because of my eyes, unfortunately. I was going to be I wanted to be an Air Force pilot and fly F-18s at the time, but that didn't work out. It was my dream, but it didn't work. So
that happened to my dad. He was at SLU in the 50s, and he wanted to be a pilot. And they said, "Okay, Lieutenant." He wasn't a lieutenant yet, but they just said, "What are the numbers on these color blotches?" And he's like, "What numbers?" So he ended up being a lawyer, and it was a JAG. But he wanted to fly B-29s in Korea. So yeah, it gets a lot of people on the physical. But you tried, and you're doing great stuff now for America.
Well, I mean, I'm just doing my part as much as I can, and I'm blessed to do it every day I can. I mean, there's no, everybody's got to do something. And hopefully when I'm on here talking to people and putting some words out there that people spend a few minutes to listen and they learn something or they pass it on to somebody.
And
so
you got Don.
What's
you
that?
Got Don on the line. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Get a little endorsement from Don. Doesn't hurt your organization. Hope you get a lot more listeners.
Well, maybe. We'll awesome. See. So from what I remember before, Jerome told me like every nickel, or probably more than that now because of inflation since it's 100%, but let's just say every dime that's donated, it essentially buys a can of food for a soldier. Is that correct? What you guys do is pretty much because you don't take any of that money and keep it.
Right. We've got a lot of volunteers, and without them, we would be sunk.
Mm-hmm.
But 99.3% is what we're getting back to veterans and their families.
Well, you
And
can't
that's a
even
lot of
say
things
that
that are
about
doing
the Red Cross. I mean, the Red Cross is just absolutely the opposite.
Got a lot of overhead. Right.
Exactly.
We sent out somewhere around in-kind donations. This isn't stuff we buy, things that we get to redistribute. Somewhere around $24 million, 357,000, somewhere around there.
That's great. That's great. So anybody who comes into our store when you're checking out, just remember on the left there's a Heroes Care box, and it's got a slot in the top, and we can't access that. That is locked by them. They come by and pick it up all the time. Obviously, we're not criminals, and we don't do that. We would never steal money anyway. In fact, I will point out that in the past where I've made mistakes on invoices and I go through the books myself at the end of the week, if I caught a mistake and I know there's somebody out there that can say I've done it, I'll send you a check for the error. I don't know of any other guy who owns a business that's done that, but I've done that probably about 100 times over my life of being a businessman. So and I've had one guy come back and say, "Dude, nobody would ever done that. That makes me want to come back here and spend my money."
That's the Abraham Lincoln story.
Right. I'm going to spend my money
Lincoln
with you
story.
because you're
went
honest.
Back and gave the city the change.
Well, I mean, people make mistakes. Look, my gals up front, my guys up front, whoever's running the store can always make a mistake. I can make a mistake myself. Accidentally click the wrong thing, charge you too much tax, charge you, full price instead of the sale price. I mean, we do things and make mistakes. 99% of the time, if I see it and I recognize it, I'm done. The other 1% of the time, may get by me because I didn't know about the situation. I didn't know what was going on, but we are always honest, and like yourself, making sure you're using the money where it's supposed to be used instead of floundering it around and enjoying your nice tuxedos and everything else. I know of an organization, NRA, that does that.
You've got a nice collection, Ian, of firearms, ammo, optics, and you don't have a giant warehouse. You're doing a lot with your store, and what you're doing right now is one of the most important things, is to get the word out about what's really going on so people can be active. And
it is important, yeah. And
support you, but all of the politics that we've got to get changed.
We do.
Protecting the laws and the Constitution. The Constitution's got to be upheld.
It's been a real long time. People have been asleep, and they're finally waking up. And I can't say that I totally hate social media, because if it wasn't for social media, I don't think we'd be as awake today as we are, as far as what's really going on. I think we'd end up with a lot more things restricting us than we have today. But what do you think?
If I can interject something on Heroes Care real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to let any of your listeners know, if they're a veteran or if they're a family member of a veteran, and they know somebody even that has problems with post-deployment with PTSD, post-traumatic stress, or traumatic brain injury, a vehicle gets exploded with a ton of HE, they're going to have problems. And the VA does a good job. And under Trump, they did a lot more. But they can't hit the demand quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They do the best they can, and I'm not going to knock them because there's a lot of good people there. But we have a veteran service officer. If they want to get a hold of heroescare.org, look on the website. They can call our two phone numbers, and I'll give those at the end.
Sure.
And John Jerome will even take the call, president at heroescare.org, to help those people that need help. And we'll take care of them right away. Our stuff is immediate because we don't have layers of bureaucracy.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, if you want to give, even do you take volunteers of regular people or just volunteers of military?
They can anybody.
Anybody. So there you go, guys. If you got a weekend available, or you got a day that you don't have anything going on and you want to, get out there and make a difference or give up a few hours of your day, contact Jerome or Mark at Heroes Care and say, hey, I want to help you guys out for a couple hours. I know that you said like 2 or 3 weeks ago you had a bunch of reservists down there helping load up some big trucks to go out to families. Is that the case?
Right. You have what we call FRG, and that's the Family Resource Group, if I'm getting it right. And the Air Force has something, Airman's Attic, and every branch has something. And that's a food pantry, and they have, kids' clothes, diapers, all the stuff that the specialists or the private, whoever it is, they're deployed, mobilized, or they're just having a tough time struggling with making the ends meet. Because a lot of these folks, they go on active duty, and they've just lost $30,000 of income. You have to make that up somehow. And that's a lot of the reason why soldiers would go AWOL or their morale collapses, is because their families aren't being taken care of. And the units are understaffed and trying to do way too much. So they're trying to get a hold of VA, and they're slow. So they can call us, the wife of the deployed, the husband of the deployed person can call us, and they just can fill out information on the heroescare.org site, and they can call us either way. It's 636-600-0096, or the toll-free number is 888-799-1470, and we'll help them.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I know there was a couple of different groups that back in the day that were associated with your group that Brian Chappell started and would help out people too, getting them help kind of the same way through the Heroes Care group, because we did that. What was it? Warrior Fest, I think is what it was called, probably about 6 or 7 years ago with Rhino Arms. And we did some engraving and Cerakote work and some other things to a rifle. And Rhino donated a rifle to the organization of Heroes Care to give away. And we raised a lot of money that day, and we gave it away. And there was a great big stage down in Soulard. It kind of was a bad day. It didn't work out. I think there was some overcast and some rain possibly. But, everybody was there for the cause, and it was a great idea. And, hopefully someday we can do something very similar again, but maybe in my parking lot, we can get a big, huge stage and have a huge party all day. So maybe that's something I'm going to be working on.
Military vehicle.
Yeah, maybe some military
vehicles.
Yeah. Get Heroes Care
PA
down there.
People, they will meet at our place. We support them. We support a lot of other organizations. It's not, hey, just look at us. We support a lot of other organizations because we're all in it together, and everybody has their function. If you want to say folds of honor, I'm going to give to them. Great. We're not bad-mouthing anybody. We support everybody.
Mm-hmm.
To give you kind of a perspective, 50,000 is the average number of military families in each state. That's active reserve guard. 5,000 is the number of families that are affected by deployment. This is like last year's number. 500 is the number of military families who need support that Heroes Care will give them. And then 50 is the number of military members who will make an attempt on their own lives. And we've been able to help a lot of those folks.
Yeah, it's a shame if you've got somebody who's got somebody who's got PTSD. If you've got somebody around that has that, make sure you get them help before it's too late. A lot of these guys, don't go out for help because they're too proud to ask. They really end up having a lot of problems.
Ashamed. They feel ashamed.
Yeah, they feel ashamed. I've never
feel ashamed.
I don't know that. You know that better than I do. I've talked to some of them that have a very hard time dealing with things in reality. The things that they do in war never go away, and they haunt them daily and nightly. I know my father, even at 77 years old, still would wake up in the middle of the night. And we didn't find this out till after he passed away. But one of the girls that he went to high school with, he would call and would tell her about his dreams and his hauntings of, and he wasn't he was a bomb loader, but I think even a bomb loader, because they would see their guys leave with their ammunition packs and then they didn't come back. It was like this huge feeling of guilt that you didn't load it right or you didn't do something right, and that's why that person didn't return that day.
A lot of guys that were in the Arizona that survived had survivor's guilt, and a lot of people experience that. I am not a combat veteran. I mean, I was a tank commander supposed to go to Desert Storm. The war was over before we could even get motivated to get up there. We did. Nobody believed the war would end that fast.
Yeah.
Not all wars are like that, of course. And I talked to a cook on an aircraft carrier, and he said, I was the bravest man in the Navy. And I was like, well, you were in World War II. What was your battle station? He goes, no, you don't understand. If I cooked 3 bad meals, they'd throw me overboard. I mean, they've got a good sense of humor. I mean, the statement about some gave all gave some. If you were a quartermaster, you served.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys that were the combat veterans out in front, that got the Purple Hearts and the Silver Stars, they don't want to talk about any of it. And
Yeah.
you just have to respect whatever it was that you did is what you did. Be proud of your service, and if you need help, get help.
Yeah, some of the military men that served and have been in active warfare are some of the most humbling men I've ever talked to in my life. They don't want to talk about it. They don't ask for gratification. They never want a discount. You have to give it to them, you know. Um, it's a different type of person than a guy who just was on the sidelines, you know, maybe moving stuff around or cooking meals or exercising. Right. Those guys, they just can't. If they can deal with life and they've gotten past things, it's still there. It's still very real to them.
Oh, yeah.
And it affects them every day in all their aspects of life. So it's very important to, you know, support good organizations that can help those guys. A lot of these guys come out and they just can't get back into real life. They can't go back to work. They're still trying to figure out what to do. You know, this is where
to keep the families intact.
Yeah, and this is where your organization comes in, because you guys can give them help through food, give them help through support, help them pay some bills, maybe give them a job, maybe help them find a job, help the wife.
We've got a suit program.
Mm-hmm.
If a veteran comes back from active duty and he's lost 20 pounds because he's been in the desert, or she, we'll get him a suit. And if they're looking for employment, we can help with employers that are looking for military veterans, so we can help there too.
Yeah, it's a great organization. So guys, that's Heroes Care in Fenton, Missouri. Mark Brekenridge is my contact there. You're the president now, is that correct?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, John Jerome is the president. He's the boss.
Okay.
But I do all the development stuff.
Okay.
And trying to do some outreach.
So you're like the guy under John Jerome.
Well, the VP is the big guy.
Okay.
And I'm the development guy, and I'm sure John's going to get a chuckle out of that. But it's okay. That's all right.
Well, I think I met John back in the day with Warrior Fest, and he seemed like a very, very noble guy. If you guys want to donate, if you guys want to donate to their organization, or even give your time, or you have some money that you want to pitch towards their way, or you want to refer people to them for some help, I'm going to have Mark here give you their information one more time, and then we're going to try to move forward with finishing the show out, and we'll let Mark go.
Rather.
So Mark, go ahead there. Tell us the organization's email address, phone number, and their website.
Thanks, Ian. It's heroescare.org. You can call locally 636-600-009 or 6, or 888-799-1470. And thank you for your listeners, and keep fighting the good fight politically, and keep fighting for our Second Amendment rights and freedom of speech.
No problem, man. I really appreciate you coming on tonight and giving a heads up on the Heroes Care. And like I said, they're right below us in the backside of the Biltmore Plaza area. So if you're by our place and you want to, you're a veteran and you want to swing in and meet them and see if you can help out, or you've got a friend or something that needs some help, you can go by there, grab a pamphlet for them, get them involved. But that's Heroes Care. They're located in Fenton, right behind us, and behind Chuck's Boots Plazas there. So check them out sometime. And if you're in the shop and you're buying something, and you need to, drop off some extra change, you can remember that it goes to the right place. And, we just really appreciate everything that they do. It's a really great organization. So thanks again, Mark, for visiting us with tonight and giving us this information. I appreciate everything you've done for the organization so far, and really excited to see it move forward, and under some new leadership. I think it's going to get even better, and we'll try to incorporate them somehow in some super big event that we're trying to plan for later. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're working on it. We were trying to get Chuck's involved, Eric Naputi's office involved, and it's just it's the middle of the year, right around that time where everybody's on vacation. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens with everybody and get them back together, but we may have a Second Amendment big party on the parking lot. And if we do, I think Brian from Divine Sorrow promised me he would come and play. And he'll not only play his music, but I'll make him play at least one Tool song. And they are excellent. If you've never seen Divine Sorrow in concert, I really highly recommend you go check them out on their web page for Divine Sorrow, or on the Facebook page for Divine Sorrow. Find out when they're playing next and go check them out. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining the show tonight. Some of the great people that are around me that are friends of mine and have been wonderful in assisting me through the process of things, and also are great entrepreneurs like myself. Well, I can't say I'm a great entrepreneur, but maybe I am. Brad Evans, Evans Flooring. If you need some flooring for your home or your office, they did our shop and our home. And I would really recommend you spend your money with him. He's a local businessman out of High Ridge, Missouri. And his business is located there in Sunset Hills. So check him out at Evans Flooring. And Omega Fencing, and that's Anthony Sandstone. He's a newer business owner this year. And he's getting a good start. And the guy is wonderful. What a wonderful guy. Started his business just recently with his wife. And he's got 2 great kids. He took that risk and jumped. And if you would support him in all of your support and you're looking for fencing, give him a call. That's Anthony Sansone, Omega Fencing Solutions. And I would be grateful if you give them your business. On top of that, look after Han. Han down there in Festus. He's a great guy, teaches MMA martial arts. But Kevin Hahn has been a person that I send people to quite often. He's a wonderful guy, very, very educated, extreme background in martial arts, training, military, and so forth. I don't think you'll go wrong. He's great with women, great with children, and that's Han Martial Arts, Festus, Missouri. Check them out also, great people. And just wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And everything you do. Jamie Allman for having us on the show once in a while. I think I might be on tomorrow morning. It depends if he calls me. We'll see. I did have some people this week asking me what about this Jefferson County thing. So I'll just give you a little clip of that real quick. So tomorrow is the county, the county council meeting. And they have a new county council person they selected, and I'll go into detail. So essentially what's gone on is there were 8 people who put their name in to get be part of the selection process. So the selection of the county councilman for District 7, which is my district, they were supposed to select as a lottery selection. So basically they had a paper in front of them with 8 boxes. They were supposed to rank their picks 1 through 8, or 8 through 1, I should say. 8 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. And it seems that there was a little collusion, and 3 of the county councilmen did not follow the rules to have a fair vote for the people of Jefferson County, which is decisive and deceitful. And maybe the county attorney was in on it, maybe he wasn't. It looked like it possibly could be that way. But there is essentially a consensus that they only needed to fill in 1 box, and they all 3 filled in the same box for the same person who's a status quo rhino plant. So in other words, we ended up with a group of people who have been trying to permeate the government for quite a while. Getting their person seated. And they did that by eliminating what's been the status quo for the last, I think it's been about 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, where they would select a person by a vote of ranking. And they selected that way in order to keep it fair and keep it just, to where it wasn't a selection process that was direct, but instead an indirect process. And by doing what they did last, I think it was the 4th of June, they essentially wasted 7 other parties' times, and they lied to the people of Jefferson County, as they didn't have a fair election or selection process for a new representative. Now, this affects the entire county, because if this person isn't part of the Good Old Boys Club, then, they have no power to unseat people and to take over the council. And so this person was very important to get appointed by the status quo people, because they need to have the power in order to unseat the current head, which is Phil. And unfortunately, looks like the possibility of the party that is in control let it happen, didn't care, maybe a little concerned, but he did not feel that they did anything wrong, and he stated exactly that it was good sportsmanship. I disagree. I feel that their votes were nullified, because they didn't complete the ballot as it was told to be completed on the ballot. So I'm asking you guys, if you have a few minutes tomorrow night, go down to the county council meeting, take 5 minutes on the record, and tell them you're ashamed of them. Tell them that you're unhappy with the way that they do business down there. And I would encourage anyone in any of these districts where the party did vote, which I think is Festus, District 1, and I'm not sure on the other one, maybe District 5. We'll discuss that later. Put your name in to run next time. I think it's coming up in a year. Let's get these people overturned. You know, I'm going to try to run again for District 7. There's been a couple other parties that have said they were going to run. And we're going to make sure that somebody gets elected other than the person that was selected, because we don't feel that they were selected properly. And we believe that it is, again, you know, we just got off of dealing with a fraudulent election with the government in general. I mean, to see this in your own county is just disgusting. I mean, it's it stinks of high heaven. So I would hope that if you have a few minutes tomorrow night, you can run down to the county council office. That's the administration building, Jefferson County, and spend a few minutes down there and tell them what you think of what they did, and sidestepping the vote process and directly appointing someone that they wanted. And it wasn't just, you know, 1 or 2 people. This was 3 persons that did this. So there's a council of 6 people left, and they had to have a majority. So what they did is they selected that person as their only choice, left all the other spots blank so that no one else got a vote ranking. And then the other 3 parties put that person, I believe, in the last position because they all knew who she was. And by default, because she had 3 8 votes and 3 1 votes, she had more votes than everybody. And that's just wrong in my view. It's extremely deceitful. Wasted my time, I can tell you that, which I'm not happy about at all. The guy who actually would have won had they voted properly got cheated, which is wrong. And so spending a few minutes down there tomorrow night, if you can swing by the administration building and give them a piece of your mind, would be great. If nothing else, give them a call. They have their phone numbers on the Jefferson County Council thing. They also have email addresses. Take a few minutes to send them an email and let them know how disgusted you are with their performance and what they did to the Jefferson County people. In talking with the head of the board, I was basically told that while they had good sportsmanship, he was told by the county councilor that nothing was done improperly and that they did have the right to abstain from voting. I disagree wholeheartedly. If you abstain from your entire ballot. You don't abstain from voting for specific parties. So I disagree, and I think that this is a disgrace to our community and our election process. And I think that the people of Jefferson County deserve better. And I'm going to make sure that they get better, because we're going to make sure to have a bunch of people running and shut these guys out of their office positions. And later on in the show and stuff, we'll get into talking about which candidates that I support and which candidates I believe are extremely constitutional and staunch. I think we need some really strong candidates with some backbone, people with balls that aren't afraid to use them. And we need to get these. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I'm chauvinistic, because I'm not. If you're a woman and you have balls, let's use them too. But we need to make sure that these people get knocked out of office and never get back in. And the only way to do that is for mom and pop people like you and me, business owners, to get involved. Put your money up, help these small folks out, interview them, get them on the air, and I'll try to get some of them on the air so we can talk to them. We know what they're about. That is how we make things happen. Run for the school board, run for the county council, run for the fire board, run for the health department board, and we need to do that big time. We need every person that we can turned over on the health department board. There's only one person on there that handles business and does it for the people, and so we need to make sure that we break the back of that deal and fire Kelly Vollmer. We've talked about this before. The gal needs to go. Here's another thing that's great. She went ahead and turned off everybody's email in the health department now, and you can't get a hold directly of your Jefferson County duly elected health board official via their email through the health department. She is now monitoring everyone's email coming through like a dictator, and will not allow any of the persons elected to see their emails before she has a chance to read through and filter what she wants you to get and what she doesn't. If that doesn't scream of overreach of power and dictatorship, I don't know what does. All right, guys, that is it. We're at an hour, 5 minutes. It was a wonderful show tonight, guys. I really appreciate everything. I'm blessed to be here with you guys tonight again. I will see you next week. Same time, same place, Sunday, 8 o'clock on Modern Weapons Systems. And I am looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And make sure to share our podcast and get it around. Thanks again, and have a great night.